Afternoon all. Good to go. We've called today's press conference because despite repeated questions, we didn't get a straight answer to a very simple question. Why would you cut $550 million from frontline services, from our health and hospital services, during the biggest crisis Queensland health has faced in a generation? And we heard only last month about this understanding of the system being in crisis despite denials, and we heard that $100 million was going to be the panacea to fix it, and yet 5 times more than that is already being proposed and demanded of the HHSs to rip that out of the system. How do we know this? Well, we know this because the HHSs have come to ask. They are asking for our help. They are crying out for assistance, people at the front line. So we've now had paramedics, patients, and now policymakers crying out for help. The government is losing control of Queensland Health, and ripping money from it is not going to fix it. I'll ask Ros to say some words.
These proposed $500 million cuts are just a slap in the face to every paramedic, nurse and doctor working within our hospital system. They are already stretched to the limit, taking sick leave, annual leave, stress leave, work cover. Enough is enough. The token $100 million only a few weeks ago is just a drop in the bucket. In fact, that token $100 million is just a band-aid on a hemorrhage.
Yes, yesterday we saw a significant event out at the Callide Power Station where we had an explosion and a fire which had huge impacts across the state. So now it's time to start looking for a few answers as to how that happened. Firstly, it's such a relief that nobody was injured and nobody was hurt in that event. And don't underestimate the significance of what happened. That was a catastrophic event. So that there was nobody injured or killed is a great result. So there will be a workplace health and safety investigation into that. But as to what happened and to make sure it doesn't happen again either at that power plant or another one is what we're looking for now. It needs to be an independent investigation, it needs to be open, it needs to be made public so the public can have some confidence that this will not be repeated. That event yesterday impacted upon hundreds of thousands of people and businesses across the state. So we need some transparency around that investigation and some answers that the public can have confidence in. And I'm happy to take any questions if you I've talked to CS and Energen this morning and they have assured me that the plant will be repaired, so it will be some time. Generator 4 could be as long as 12 months, so it will not be operating at capacity for some time, but I've received assurance that it will be repaired. We asked a question this morning about the maintenance work, and that's because we're being asked. Obviously, we've had a lot of concerned people that have contacted us about the event yesterday, and they want to know that the maintenance has been up to standard, that there's been no shortcuts. So we asked the Minister yesterday on behalf of those inquiries we've received. The Minister has stated that the maintenance is up to scratch, and that's what I've been assured by CS and Energen as well.
What do you think of the government's argument saying that it's a credit to the system essentially that it's diversified in order to get that businesses and households back online so quickly?
Yes, there's no doubt generation was restored, but with that generator out for a period of at least 12 months, and we're not sure how long generator 3 is going to be out, suddenly I think you'll find we're stretched a little thin. So we certainly don't want to repeat at Tarong or at Mulmerran or Kogan, or we may have a very serious event.
What should the government do? Sorry, you said that we're getting stretched pretty thin. What should the government do in the meantime to ensure we don't have continuing blackouts?
One of the issues that I've been pursuing is the actual way the generators are being run. As you would know, there's a lot of renewable energy in the system during the day like now. So the coal-fired generators have to idle right down to a low output. They can't stop. You can't turn them off. They've got to continue to run. But that is very, very hard on the generators. The quickest way to shorten the life of these generators is to power them down like they're doing every day. This has an impact on them. So it will be shortening the life. So that means more upgrades, that means more shutdowns to keep them going, because you can't just turn them off.
Are you making an argument for batteries there?
Well, batteries are coming. There's no doubt about that, and there's a heavy investment in batteries, but they're not cheap, as you know. You know, your rough rule of thumb is a megawatt hour is equivalent to about $1 million. So if you've got a 50 megawatt battery, you're looking about $50 million. That's what they cost. You would think that that would improve over time as technology gets better, but that is what they cost at the moment. So we still need our coal and gas-fired power generators to do the heavy lifting at night and to keep industry. You know, we had a near disaster with the Gladstone smelter yesterday. It was shut down for a few hours, and that could have been catastrophic.
Well, I might just make one point on that there is a reason why we're asking questions about the maintenance and the operation of these assets, because they're being used as a cash cow at the moment. And we've got every reason to ask that question, because these generators are there to provide a service, an essential service for Queenslanders, and they're there to make sure that the most vital of supply are there, not to be used as a cash cow. And I look at the returns of those generators and I have every reason to ask about maintenance, and I have every reason to ask about the operation on the basis of that.
You asked about hospital spending or cuts. The Treasurer of Cabinet referred to record health cuts.
Sure.
There is a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little cute. When you have a budget of tens of billions of dollars, you only need to add inflation to that, and of course you're going to have a record budget. But you can't pull over $500 million out of the front line and not expect an impact, particularly at the moment. We have a system that is in crisis. We have ambulance ramping that is becoming the new norm every day, and the cries from help are coming from the front line. We are having people who are ringing us because they are at their wits' end. They are AMBOs who signed up not to sit at the end of a ramp. They signed up because they want to help people. They are mums and dads who call 000 because they want to know that somebody who's trained can come and help their child in their hour of need. And now we have the frontline policymakers at the grassroots being asked somehow to get a little more blood out of a little heart of stone. And that's not fair. And we're going to raise this because you can't say record budgets and then, with the other hand, take out $500 million. You can't say here's an extra 100 million when you're asking for 5 times that to be swept under the rug. Well, our health service at the moment is in crisis, and the government is losing control of health services in this state. Why on earth would you ask for the frontline people to find savings at the moment? The frontline, the people who are at the moment struggling to make ends meet. We have sick days, we have stress leave, we have frontline staff who are struggling to cope. And the response from the government is to ask them to dig a little deeper in the savings bucket. Righto, thanks very much.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, closure of the paediatric ward at Queenslander Hospital. There's been outrage from the community over the fact that people don't have to send kids to the same post.
Sure, I don't blame the people of Gympie for the outrage. We need to make sure that local services are available for local people in our local hospitals. And this government has a record of dragging all of these local services back into a major hospital and making everybody travel. If your child is having an asthma attack and needs to be admitted, then you would certainly want them to be at Gympie and not be on the road, in the back of an ambulance, waiting on a ramp at Screw.
Thank you.